Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tome Travelers podcast. This is a science fiction fantasy book club podcast, and this is episode 29. Is that right? 29 or 30? It's 29.
No, 29.
Okay. 29 of the podcast, and we're continuing our read of Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters. And so we read chapter 1 through 8, so stopping at the end of 8. So if you haven't read, spoiler warning, major ahead. Before we get into that, though, a couple quick announcements. Dylan, you have our next book, right?
Oh yeah,
What is it? Let us
it's gonna
know.
be The Assassin's Apprentice, Farseer Trilogy Book One.
And that's by
By
Robin
Robin
Hobb. Yeah.
Yep, by Robin Hobb, and it's gonna be fantastic. I've already read it, and I loved it so much that, and I think it's gonna create a lot of good discussion. So
I'm
I
excited
went ahead
for
and
it.
picked it for this one. Yep.
I've heard a lot of good things about Robin Hobb, so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
And then also our Patreon is up and loading. And so if you want early access to our episodes, some bonus content, and things along those lines, join the Patreon. The link is in the description down below. Also, check out our Discord where you can join the community and talk and hang out with all of us. So without further ado, we're going to get into our fantasy question, which Whitson has prepared for us. Whitson, what are we talking about today?
So thematically, it's what's your favorite take on dragons? Which fits the theme of the book.
I like it. Who wants to go
Mine's
first?
always
wants to take
been
it?
mine's always been Aragon. Like
Okay.
I always loved the dragons in that book, those books. I like the magic, the way the magic works, and then like how the bonds work, and like I was introduced to dragons before that book, obviously, but like that was like I think one of my first like super into depth. Like obviously we had Smaug and all them, but like as far as like that's probably one of my first like in depth dragon books that I read.
Mm-hmm.
What about yours, MD?
Okay, so I've thought about this, and I have two answers, but one of which I don't really necessarily know if it constitutes as a dragon or not. I'd say either King Ghidorah, just because I love the Godzilla movies, and I love King Ghidorah. He's just like this giant celestial dragon, but technically he's a monstrosity. If you go by D&D terminology. But like I think my actual take might be How to Train Your Dragon, because like those are highly like high quality movies, and just like I love the whole like they have this whole like um what's it called, like book on like these are the types of dragons that these ones breathe fire, these ones are noxious gas, don't touch a night fury, and then they just have this whole list or whatever, and then they figure out how to actually like basically partner with them, ride them, train them and stuff. I really like the How to Train Your Dragon movies, and so I'm gonna go with those.
I don't know that
Yeah,
I've
we
ever seen
watched them.
those.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't.
I think
There
those like just
was,
barely missed our generation.
dude, I'm not happy.
You're a few
Those
years
are
behind us.
those are movies that hold up. Like even in my current age, they hold up. So I would highly recommend them.
Might have to check those out. Sometimes we'll go back and watch old Disney movies for like casual, cozy date nights. And
Yeah.
I think my favorite is Discworld, probably. Since you took Aragon, I'll go with Discworld because they're half theoretical in Discworld. So like they can only fly so far away from their roost before they become completely theoretical and they just disappear. Those books are
That's
really
cool.
funny.
That is dope. I still haven't read any Discworld books, but I want to.
They're really funny. It's just snarky, sarcastic, like ironic humor the whole time.
Yeah.
First one's really short, isn't it?
They're all really short.
Yeah.
I think they're
All right.
all under 300 pages or so.
Y'all wanna get into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that out of the way, we'll go ahead and jump into the episode. Let us leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite iteration of a dragon is, or whatnot. But let's go ahead and jump on into episode 29 of the Tome Travelers.
So Tao, our main character, he basically starts off as a stupid kid and then immediately gets thrown into a battle, and that kind of gives him some perspective and shakes him up. And then from there, he kind of has like the cask system reinforced to him. He has like some conflict with his best friend, who previously he kind of felt like he was equals with. That's kind of like some foreshadowing for what goes on later in the book. Uh, well, not much later in the book. They go to a testing where Jabari is supposed to get into the Citadel and kind of save his family. And really, through no fault of his own, Tal kind of messes it up. A nobleman's son comes at him with a sharp blade, and he just beats him up. Uh, it just bloodies his nose too. I thought that was funny how drastic the reaction to that is when he just broke his nose. It gets his dad killed, which starts the kind of revenge path that it seems like the story's going to follow the rest of the way. It's kind of the impetus for the story. And since then, we've more or less just watched Tao obsessively pursue revenge and kind of doggedly train himself to his own detriment a lot of the time.
Yeah.
We've had a tournament arc, which has been pretty fun. How are you guys feeling about the book?
Uh, I'm enjoying it, but it's definitely not like my taste. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
don't get me wrong. I like the tournament arc and stuff like that, but there's a lot of just like the same thing with like a lot of the duels and then a lot of, you know, and so I just feel like
Mm.
it's getting it's doing it so much that I just kind of start like glazing over a little bit when it gets a little bit too repetitive at times. But I do really like the culture, the setting, the everything that is taking place like around it. I just wish there was a little bit more to the story. Like I keep like whenever I get like little hints of things, like whenever we got that little lore drop on the coal and things like that, like I always find myself wanting more. Um, but it's good. It's definitely not to my taste though.
See, I was curious. I was curious how you guys would feel about it in relation to Red Rising because I feel like there are a lot of parallels.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the
I can see some.
prose and the perspective makes it different for
Mm-hmm.
sure, but I mean, ultimately they're both revenge thrillers with like kind of a battle royale esque thing going on.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it,
Um,
Dylan?
kind of like I don't. I'm enjoying it. Like it's interesting. Um, the culture stuff's really cool. And it's something different. But as far like story wise, there's just nothing like that stands out to me. Um, it I don't know. I can't even really compare it to Red Rising. I don't know why, because I agree they're both revenge thrillers, but
Yeah.
like they just feel like such different books. Um,
Yeah, I think the first person perspective in Red Rising really makes
Right.
it
Well,
stand out and feel different.
I also think Red Rising does a better job of like distinguishing this like class structure
and
of
I
like
think characters
an
too,
Hmm.
inequity. Yeah.
because like Tao seems really like 2D to me. Like he's just like revenge, revenge. My dad died, revenge, revenge. I mean, like I get it, like his dad was his whole world, but like I know he's young too. And so but like he's just like there's so many points in this book where he should have died. Like, and I think that bothers me a little bit because it's like he just keeps
Plot
like
armor.
skate,
Yeah.
yeah, plot armor. Um, and it's like he doesn't learn from any of it. He just he like runs into a brick wall over and over again and doesn't learn from any of it. But I mean, we still got another half a book, so we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. Um, especially now that he knows about the crossbreeding and uh uh Jayed's plan to try to like raise everybody else up to noble status. Um, and I think the caste system's interesting. Uh, but I'm wondering like how that got started. Like, why are these people or why are the nobles like bigger, stronger, faster? Did it explain that?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't really. I mean, just
Because
selective breeding because they're trying to make more gifted, I think is basically it.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I
they
just
have the tradition of the queen birthing the new generation of royals and nobles with the champion. So I think the
right.
queen. I mean, it does seem to be a family line, but it also seems like there's some kind of merit based
Yeah.
thing going on.
Yeah. Well,
Like it's
like
very eugenic.
yeah. Uh, it just like the prologue, I didn't feel like I got any of that. And I guess it could have been going on in the prologue and it was just not mentioned. But like I'm wondering if this is something like new in the last 200 years or if that was something they had going before they went to this place or
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, I I've really liked it. I do agree that Tao is a little bit 2D, but he also just really gives me the like cage or not caged, cornered animal vibe. So it's not that he has a ton of depth, but he doesn't feel like a cardboard cutout or cartoon character. He is one note. It's like a hate spiral. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you're just watching someone spiral into self destruction. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of texture to the world through the people around him, though, because you see Kellen not want to do the cruel shit that he's being told to do. You see
Yeah.
Jayed with like all these ideas about these greater lesser crossbreeds, but then he can't get away from believing that the nobles are, inherently superior. And then you have Zuri, who is kind of like an Egwene character,
Yeah. Well, she just
like
seems like she's
lost
stuck
love.
in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like she's like she doesn't really know what to do. Um
yeah.
I was definitely going to bring up Kellen and Jayed too, though. Those both those characters seems like um, way more interesting to me, uh, and I feel like they like their stories would be like their full stories would be really interesting. Um,
If they had more of a prominent role.
yeah, and I'm wondering like if we're going to see like a Kellen Tao team up type thing at some point. Or I wonder where we're really gonna go from here, other than revenge. Like, because surely there's got to be, like, I mean, they're still in this war with these this tribal people, um, and that's like still going on in the background, and
Yeah.
eventually that's got to come to the front, I'm assuming, and then we're gonna have to see Tal run back into Jabari, his buddy, at some point, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
it seems like they kind of assume, or like at least Zuri assumed that he had something to do with Lacour's death. So I'm wondering if like everyone from the village kind of like was like, that's probably what happened.
Yeah. I think maybe like something kind of like to think about with it is like we don't really know where the story could go. Like let's say Tao gets his revenge. What happens after that? There's not
Well,
really like a
I
clear
think he has to
direction.
become like one of the greatest warriors to actually beat Kellen, to beat the bodyguard Uller, or I forget his name. Um, to actually kill those guys, he's going to have to become like insanely strong, insanely skilled. But then I think the Cull kind of has to be the big bad for the whole series,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, there is another book after this one, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming he gets his revenge at least mostly, or the revenge arc ends. I'm assuming in this book,
Right.
and then we move on to dealing with the locals, and then dealing with the Cull.
Yeah.
That's my expectation.
Yeah.
Could be completely wrong.
Yeah. I just don't know if it's like um I don't know. The thing kind of going back to like how Red Rising cuz it's also like a revenge book, but it's like it's very clear like once he finishes this like Hunger Games-esque battle royale thing, it's very clear what his next step is. It's like he has a long-term goal whereas Tao has just this like almost like imminent revenge thing that he's
Blinders
like
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
blinders on, just full headlights in focusing on it and I don't know. I think that's what makes the story a little dry for me.
I just think Tao's got to become a completely different character to go the way that Whitson's talking about. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like how I would write this book is like he grows the fuck up and it's like, hey, there's other shit going on. Jayed's right, which he's got the mentor. He's got the mentor, so we may see that. Um, and then like changes his mindset to where it's like I can beat him from within or something, like kind of like Red Rising, and then realize like, hey, like there's these tribal people that we're at war with, and that's like really important. Way more important than my petty revenge probably, and then the coal's probably gonna come up, and so
Well,
I
well,
think he's gonna have to change for
I
it to
think you
go
could
that
be
way.
right, but I don't really have any problem with this being the story of like I mean, essentially a terrorist, right? Like he's within
Yeah.
this caste system. The caste system has like, uh, underserved him in a really horrific way. I don't have any problem with that being the story personally.
Yeah. I mean, I don't either. I don't. Uh,
I think it's just a
maybe.
little more character study y. It's less like. Well, I don't know. I think this is a thing that happens with our picks, right?
Yeah,
Like when I pick the
that's
book,
fair.
it's a
Yeah,
character study, and then when you guys pick a book, it's a grand plot. It's like a
yeah.
space opera,
I
like
guess that's true.
Red
Yeah,
Rising, or you know what I
yeah,
mean.
Yeah.
So I think the difference in taste is definitely at play here. But
yeah.
personally, I like this. Like it's watching a train wreck. It's watching Tao's like downward hate spiral.
Yeah. Right, and I agree with that, and like, but like, when does it catch up with him? Because
Yeah,
he
sure.
is
No, I
he
am
has
waiting on it
dodged
to catch
death
up with him.
like 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
You would
think
think
he's
after his
about to
dad died.
have a reckoning after the thing with Kellen, and
Yeah.
like Zuri protecting it. I think he has to have a reckoning like
Well,
very soon.
so I think maybe something's gonna happen to Zuri because she protected him, and that might wake him up. Or
Yeah,
either that or Zuri's going to reject him now, which might wake him up.
yeah. Well, so okay.
Well, if Suri
Here's
rejects
my
him, does that
question:
put
If
him on a what's a revenge arc towards her as well?
no, he
Uh,
would never hurt her. No,
yeah,
I don't think so.
I think it would just wake him up. Like, hey, I'm being a kid.
Would you be okay with the revenge arc continuing or intensifying, getting more like hyper focused on his revenge if Zuri died? Do you
I
think
think
that would change things dramatically for you?
I think so. I just because like then I would feel like it's because like we barely got attached to like him and his dad.
His dad. Yeah.
Really, it was just kind of like, oh, it's his dad, so it's important to him. Whereas like we've now been with him and Zuri, and like we've seen how they interact. We know how they like feel about each other, and so if something were to happen to Zuri, then it's like there's an emotional impact that we then want to see the revenge arc happen. Whereas like with his dad, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, he liked his dad, so there's a revenge arc. Like we're not really like
Well, I've got to
emotionally driven to it.
push back against that a little bit though, because we saw his dad do a lot of things that like I don't know,
Protected him and helped
well,
him.
protected him, but protected other people too. Like
Yeah.
we got to see his dad being like a really kind, empathetic person several times before he died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just in the span of a few weeks too. But he was basically like the middle manager trying to protect all the lessers in their village from the nobles.
Yeah. Because he had status that was basically just right under the noble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right under the petty nobles, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was we didn't have a lot of time with him though, I guess.
Yeah.
And so
I don't know. I would think I would like my perspective, like Zuri getting killed would wake him up. But then like I don't know. I feel like he should already woke up, maybe.
yeah.
So maybe I'm giving him too much credit there, but surely if something happened to her, he'd be like, okay, I need to like I I actually I really think the fight with Kellen should be his wake up call because it's like, hey, I can't beat these guys.
Mhm.
Like I can beat some of them. Like I'm a badass right now, but like the ones that actually do the same things I do, like we're at different starting points, and if we both put in the same work, you know,
Yeah, they're just gonna stay ahead.
they're just gonna stay
Well,
ahead.
do you think that the fight with Jayed is going to kind of wake him up, give him a different sense of purpose, something else to aim towards? Or do you think he's going to try to find the thing that will close the gap?
He seems more like the type to try to find the thing to close the gap. Like he's gonna, I don't know, try to find some super soldier serum or something, you know? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
don't know what
now,
it would be in this world, but like I feel like he's going to try to do. You know, in Red Rising, it was the surgery
well,
that gave
Mhm.
him.
it might be
Um,
something to do with crossbreeds.
Yeah, or innervation, and like
Yeah.
Isihogo and taking the energy from Isihogo.
Yeah.
Because she says that the cost of taking the energy is that the demons can kill you.
Yeah.
So my fan theory is, what if he finds a way to kill demons and doesn't have to give a shit? Then he becomes crazy powerful.
yeah.
Yeah. Because he has no reason to hold back.
Or
Yeah,
same concept. What if he makes a deal with a demon or something? Like I don't know how the
Oh,
demons are in
yeah,
this world, but
dude, if that happens, that makes the story 10 times better in my opinion, because now there's like a player pulling strings on things that is like
yeah, like
visible.
a Mephisto in the background, kind of.
Yes, dude. That's the plot for my next D&D character, dude.
Well, so no spoilers, but the way that this book was sold to me, by Daniel Green, shout out Daniel Green, because he needs our attention.
Yeah.
Go um, was there's like a journey through hell aspect, and I don't know if he was being metaphorical, if he literally meant that Tao spends a bunch of time in Isihogo,
hmm.
because it sounded more literal than metaphorical.
That would make sense, and that would be a way to give him the leg up he needs, maybe. Or maybe he figures out a way to kill people in Hogo or something where they're like the same. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I would like if the book was a little more magical. Like, we've gotten tastes of it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of what you were saying, MD, is like you'd like some more of the religion and the
Yeah.
magic and the lore. I would like if that stuff got drawn in a little bit more too. Which I imagine even if we don't see it here, we will see it in the next book or the book after.
I think it'll come, like everything's gonna come to fruition like towards the end of the book. Like we're gonna get a lot more. Um but yeah, I wish we had some more, at least in the exposition to set it all up. I wish we had more.
Yeah. So what's your theory on the cult after the lore drop?
Dude, so basically the Cole are like um humans who made deals basically to become immortal essentially, and but in order to do that they had to do the will of, I forget the name of the thing.
They're devil, basically.
Yeah, they're devil essentially. They had to do the will of that. So what if like the Cole just are the demons in Isihogo?
Could be.
And then, or what if Tao, because we're talking about like what if he makes a deal with the devil or something, what if he tries to become one of the Cole
Oh,
to take
I hadn't
over,
thought of that.
to basically to get enough power to do that? That would actually make sense then with,
That would really lean into the revenge, like self-destructive revenge plot too, where it's like, I don't care how I get the power. Like,
extremely self-destructive. At that point he just turns into an
Yeah.
anti-hero.
Yeah.
Because like right now, like you can kind of see him as being justified because his father, who did all these great things, was killed. Well, now he literally turns on himself to become a Cole base. That could be something.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. I think that is where the story is going to go, right? Because how else is he going to close the gap?
yeah, it's got to. He's got to get something. And like I think maybe that's what that last fight showed him was like, hey, doesn't matter what I do, how much work I put in. Like I got to figure out some way to bridge the gap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's all I've got for this section. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
That's pretty much all I got. It was a pretty
Yeah.
straightforward section. Not a whole lot to talk about really.
Well, and
Yeah.
also kind of short, right? I think
Yeah.
I was only listening to it for like 4.5 hours.
Yeah. I will say I do like the pacing of this book because like the
It is
chapters
it's pretty snappy.
the chapters
Yeah.
are long, but the chapters are broken up into titled sections, and
Titled
those
sections.
sections are very short. And there's only like 4 or 5 each chapter, and so it's very easy to like boom, 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 into
Yeah.
things. Unlike, Wheel of Time, for instance, where like the chapters are super long, and I feel like I can just be like sitting and be like, let me just read a chapter real quick, and then feel like I've done something. I don't know if that makes sense or if anyone else relates to me, but
Yeah, no, I got you.
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be reading through the end next time.
Yep. And then we'll also be doing our ratings and all of that stuff. So, with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and close out the episode here.
TBRs?
Yeah, we'll do our TBRs real quick. Who wants to start it off?
Dylan's probably got more on his plate than I do.
Well, I finally finished Mistborn,
Oh yeah.
and
What
I
did you
finally
think
read
of Hero of Ages?
Well of Ascension. What?
Hero of
Is
Ages,
that the
the
first
third
book?
one. What did you think of it?
I didn't read the third one yet. Just the first and second.
Oh well, what
Oh,
the? You're
then
not
you didn't
through with
finish
I missed
Mistborn,
the
then,
first.
motherfucker.
That's the first book. Or what's the first book
Mistborn
actually
is the
called?
first book technically.
Yeah, Mistborn is the first one.
Yeah, I read the first and second book. First one really good. The ending was, anyways.
Yeah.
Now that I finally got through it. Second one was pretty good too. Definitely a lot of like relationship ish stuff going on.
The second book is way more Sanderson-y
Yeah,
than the first book.
Yeah.
The first book is like a heist book, some Sanderson shit. The second book is a Sanderson book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously you get your Sanderlanche at the end and all that. But interested to see where the third book goes. With the way the second one ended. Yeah, a lot of questions popped up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's all I've read actually this week.
Yeah. I also didn't read that much. Did I tell you guys I read The Emperor's Soul?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well I read The Emperor's Soul. That was like really early last week, I think, which is Sanderson's short story set on Elantris.
Yeah.
It was good. It was cool. Other than that, I haven't really read much at all. So
Slacking.
yeah.
Yeah, nothing new on my TBR either. Still working on the Burning White here and there. 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there.
Yeah. Cool.
It was Thanksgiving this week though. Everybody's probably pretty busy.
Yeah.
Dude,
Except
I
for-
cooked pounds on pounds on pounds. I have like 5 pounds of mac and cheese left.
I'm trying to go to
I
Whitson's
think we had
house.
like 5 pounds of stuffing that we forgot to even take with us. 4 turkey thighs, two turkey drums.
Dang,
Yeah.
I went all out. I just found a bar that was serving Thanksgiving dinner.
I had to cook for
Filled
20
out.
people.
Jeez.
I didn't even think we were gonna get off work, and then they're like, "Yeah, we'll let you off Thursday." And then, so like I went and had I think we went and had like some little diner for breakfast, and then we went to a bar for dinner, and they were just happened to be serving Thanksgiving dinner, so we're like, "Hell yeah!"
That's dope.
Oh, that's awesome. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Well, this is way
even though
after
this is
Thanksgiving.
this is like
Yeah,
our
yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
episode.
Yeah, this is our Christmas episode. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, dude.
Happy New Year, maybe
Dude.
even.
By the
Yeah.
way,
Wait,
on
no,
our
no, the
Patreon,
15th.
you
Yeah.
can see these videos when they get made.
That is true.
Well, maybe.
Dude, you know
I
what'd be
think we got
funny?
0 posted right now for that section for the early releases.
Yeah. Dude, you know what'd be funny? If next episode when we recorded the end, we wore ugly Christmas sweaters.
We can do that.
I'm down.
Let's go! All right, guys. Well, stay tuned because next episode's going to be crazy. We're going to be wearing ugly Christmas sweaters. As always, guys, please share, like, subscribe, and follow the podcast on your preferred platform. We're on a lot of things, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, so you can check those out. Follow the Patreon, get the early access, and get a little bit more voice in the community and stuff like that. Check out our Discord and follow our TikTok at the Tome Travelers Pod. Dylan is going to be making a Mistborn The Well of Ascension book
Dylan's gonna
review
be making like 7 reviews.
very, very soon in the near future. So
I'm just gonna make the videos and send them to y'all, and y'all can figure out how to put them on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm a
Honestly,
boomer.
that's better than nothing. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see y'all in the next one.